Hello, everyone, and welcome to Level 30 Podcast, where a bunch of us nerdy gamers from Scotland over our 30s talk about our love of video games and Scottish culture that's usually around it. I am the current and resident VTuber, Walt Arcong.
I'm Isla.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Scott.
Today's theme is music, brought to us by Jammy's suggestion. Jammy, do you want to talk us through this?
I know, basically, I just wanted to talk about music in video games, music in TV shows, films, that sort of thing, and how it makes you feel. Does it emote certain qualities when you are playing video games? Do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel more hyped? Do you feel like you can take on the world? And just really explaining that, because I feel like it's a very under discussed topic, and how just certain things in the background can really add to your experience of playing a game or watching a TV show or watching a film, and how that has a ripple effect on your life. Not to get too deep about it, but yeah.
The most famous score of all is Final Fantasy VII, where it's the one-winged angel from Sephiroth Battle that everyone remembers. The one that I actually quite enjoy is Guilty Gear, which is a fighting game that I play a lot. It's my favorite fighting game. In the game, it's very heavy metal rock music that plays. The director writes all the music and sings and plays the band that does all the music for it. Daisuke, I need to remember. I just remember his first name is Daisuke, but I need to remember his full name.
That's cool as fuck.
But he writes it all himself and sings in it and stuff.
I've used video game music because I've heard on the internet or read on the internet that it's supposed to help if you're flagging at work, or if you're tired and you just need a wee boost and coffee ain't cutting it, then go listen to video game music, because it's designed to keep your attention. So I started using this, and Walt and I have played Persona 5 together, and there's one particular battle in that's got a song called Rivers in the Desert, and anytime my brain is tired and I can't focus and I need to get something done, I go in and listen to that, and immediately it just boosts my brain back up again. And I'm not entirely sure if that's entirely because it's video game music and it's very good, or because of the nostalgia for me, and it just gives me a 5-minute break away from my desk where I go and I listen and I give myself that break. But I love that, up until the point where I listened to it so often it stopped working, and then I swapped to non-video game music, which is Sound of Silence by Disturbed, but it's got that incredible just tune, song, whatever you want to call it, that helps reset my brain when my attention is flagging.
Yeah, I think that's what it does. I mean, there's a reason why there's so many lo-fi covers of popular songs, even, and why so many streamers will just put on, it's copyright free or whatever, but so many streamers will put on lo-fi because it's their favorite songs, or it's their favorite soundtracks, but it's in an easily digestible way, a nice relaxing way. One of the soundtracks I really love is Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider, and just hearing that that choral sound, and you're just immediately. I've also got a full D&D playlist of songs that I've found that have came from video games, that have very much that whole fantasy, magical forest, I'm a wood elf, roaming free sort of vibe, and it just gives you this something when you're playing D&D, especially, to take your mind off of everything, and you're just so in the zone,
My name is Falconhoof. Come join me.
That's a really good point, though, because all of the playlists that I have for D&D are entirely made up of video game music, with maybe one or two exceptions. But one of my particular favorites is a composer called Christopher Larkin, who did all of the music for the Hollow Knight games. He's also doing Silksong as well, which I'm really excited about. That'll be fun when that comes out. But that game has a really amazing way of creating music that, it keeps you interested while you're exploring these big environments, while you're doing these platforming challenges that can be frustrating as all hell. And then it goes into boss fights, and it's got this incredible, somehow tonally consistent just beautiful piece of music that fits with everything else. The fact that it can be applied to so many other different things like D&D, like video essays on YouTube. There's so many things that I've heard Hollow Knight music in, and it's just amazing. It's one of my favorite soundtracks for sure.
I was going to say as well, like, so you're lucky I'm not in your D&D campaign, whereas, like, you have Isla and Jamie who, like, know the video games and everything, but I'd be sitting there just going, this is just Final Fantasy fight music, and probably...
The amount of Elden Ring in my combat stuff,
you get
you'd
away
just be like, oh, this is Godric!
Actually, I wouldn't know that. I never beat Elden Ring. I only played, like, a handful of hours of it, so...
Fair enough, fair enough. I would recommend going back to it if it's something you're interested in, but if not, then that's fair enough. Because the music in FromSoft games is always outstanding. The first one that comes to mind is the Hunter from Bloodborne. It's when you fight Father Gascoigne, and it's such oh my god, it's orchestral. It builds up, it goes crazy. Basically, it's this like religious figure who's hunting down beasts, and he thinks you're a beast. And eventually, at a certain point in the fight, he gives in to that beast inside him. He's basically a werewolf. And the song changes from this kind of just general menacing tone to this incredible orchestral piece that really like mirrors his changes.
The thing I think is for me is like I think you were mentioning vocals and everything. For me, vocals make it in a game, video game music. Now I get really into it. I mentioned it in previous episodes. Sorry, we're closed with the boss fights and that, and it's a rap group called, and I will need to because I was ready to call him Okarun, but that's the name of a character from Dandadan. Okumura. They're a rap group. That do that, and it's just hype every time when I'm doing it. I said it before, it was like I would make boss fights last a bit longer, but they also I recognize they're just the way they rapped and everything, and they done the ramen shop soundtrack for No More Heroes 3 when you're in there, and I would spend like at least 15 minutes just vibing to that kind of thing. But it's stuff like that, and it was like they released it was another rap song as well. I don't know why rap just gets in, makes me go, and it was Spider-Man 2. The intro for Spider-Man 2 is the most hypest thing because of the soundtrack. It even makes it more funny when like I play it and expertly swinging, and then we smash cut to when Isla played it and she's smashing into walls and everything because well this hype music is playing at the exact same time.
Oh my god! Who did this? Ah! No! What is with this camera angle? Ah! Oh my god!
I'm wondering, I've got a question for you guys. Has there been any sort of music that is now in your rotation because you have discovered it via video game? Because there's a few that have happened that like that for me. There was an old, I want to say it was a Halo 3 trailer. Yeah, I want to say it was like Halo 3 trailer. It's Mazzy Star Into Dust. So that was playing at the beginning of the trailer, and I remember having no interest in Halo, being completely transfixed by this trailer because of this beautiful song that was playing over it. Found out what the song is. She's now one of my like most liked artists because I love her vibe completely. And then that kind of led me down more of a rabbit hole again with like the D&D playlist. I've discovered artists from that, or if it's in trailers, or if it's in video games music, that kind of leads you down a genre of here's things that sound similar, and you're just like constantly. I mean, I've never been more chilled in my life. Never. It's great.
I've got two. So my first one is lo-fi. Jamie mentioned earlier, lo-fi is a popular thing because it can be put on in the background. There are so many covers of video game music in lo-fi, and one of my favorite artists is Lo-Fi Leah. Definitely check them out. They have really, really good stuff.
Because every time like you mentioned trailer, every time I think of a trailer, and it was 1 year during E3, it was like 2 or 3 years, actually, yeah, it was about 2 or 3 years, constantly they used Kanye West's Power for their trailers for everything, so like it turned into a drinking game, so oh look, Kanye West's Power's playing, let's take a drink.
What I have started listening to is soundtrack. The soundtrack theme for anime. The intro to Beastars is jazz, and I'm not normally a fan of jazz, and I love it. Then Seven Deadly Sins is just catchy and boppy. Dan to Dan, which was just released last year, is a tune, and I hear it everywhere, and it's all over TikTok, and I love it. And then I didn't realize that, because I've only just started watching Arcane, that Imagine Dragons does the theme tune for that, and I think Netflix are very good with how they incorporate a song or a theme into their TV shows, and it repeats throughout the show, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that was my other example that I'd forgotten, the Arcane soundtrack. It's so, like, genuinely, I just have a playlist saved on Spotify, and I chuck it on when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
But then I do think, in terms of TV shows and films, like, the emotions that you play when you're, depending on the game, the emotions that you play, the music does have something to do with that. A really good example for like a TV show, which actually links into my little Gen fact of the day, is in Game of Thrones, when everyone's at the Red Wedding and suddenly you just hear this beautiful music, but it's the Rains of Castamere. And suddenly it's this beautiful music, but you're going, oh, shit, something, oh. And then the other great example, Game of Thrones was fantastic for this, as the episode where Cersei's going to blow up the Citadel with like Marjorie and everyone's inside it, and there is no speaking. It is like 8 minutes long of just music at the beginning of an episode, and it's building and it's building, and you're going, what the fuck is going on? There is something bad is going to happen, and this music is adding. It's almost like another character. That's what I really like about music, especially in video games, because when the music starts going, like something's gonna happen, oh my god, like it's almost telling you how to feel in a way, or like playing into how you are feeling at that time, but it's just so powerful. I love music. I just think it doesn't get the hype that it deserves, like Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Like, come on. Yeah, exactly. Like, come on. Like, are we actually kidding me? How emotive that is, or how hyped how that can just make you cry just thinking about Concerning Hobbits or something. You're just like, well,
Genuinely, the amount of times I've heard Concerning Hobbits come on during like D&D podcasts, in videos where they're using it to punctuate something emotional. It's such a good song. Concerning Hobbits is fantastic.
Riders of Rohan, everything.
There's the movie that came out in the 2000s, Stardust, has a fantastic soundtrack, and part of that, I need to go look this up, so forgive me if some of this is inaccurate. It was either Final Fantasy or they were creating music for something else, and then the music director, or whoever was in charge of it, came back, showed them the score, and they're like, yes, we want that for this movie, and then they got it. And that's just, it's one of those weird coincidences where the soundtrack is so fantastic, but it wasn't initially intended for that purpose. And then the one that I really love is How to Train Your Dragon. The soundtrack for that is just
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like, that pulls on your heartstrings as well. It's like that sort of triumphant. Yeah, we can't do it because of like copyright, but I know exactly what you're talking about with that, and it is just so powerful.
And even 10, 15 years later, you hear the first couple of bars and it immediately takes you back to that scene in the movie.
Yeah.
See, you're telling me there's a universe where I might have been playing a Final Fantasy game and Take That started playing halfway through it?
That's very different.
It was Take That, wasn't it?
That's not that's not what I was talking about.
I know.
A song for the end credits.
Yeah. It's still in the score. It's still in the score.
It is, but it's not the one.
This is where the actually graphic goes.
There's a whole screed of corrections of going blah 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 blah. This is inaccurate. I always talk an absolute shite. Like,
there's a good mention, because I was just writing notes down, and I remember there is a game that I really enjoyed that involves music, and it is like a hack and slash, kind of like Devil May Cry, that you have to fight to the beat of the music, and it's called Hi-Fi, and it's called Hi-Fi Rush.
That's been on my list for so long.
It got announced, I think, it wasn't E3 because E3 stopped, but it was like that kind of time, and they're like, "Oh, we just shadow dropped this. You can just get it right now." I managed to get it free off of Game because it was on Game Pass, and I played it on Game Pass, and the game is super good. The annoying thing about streaming it is though is you have to play it on streamer mode because it's got copyrighted songs. Because I vividly
That's
remember
unfortunate.
I vividly remember one part where you fly out of you come crashing down an elevator, you land in this room, and you're fighting, and I'm like, this is Prodigy. This is a Prodigy song that is meant to be playing right now, and I'm playing the Wish version of Prodigy right now. I hate it. I want to be hitting things to Prodigy.
That's so good. And does that make it like X amount more fun for you?
Yeah.
Like that's just something new and challenging and really fun.
Yeah, it's very fun in terms of that because it's like I enjoy games like Devil May Cry and all that. You got to build up combos and everything, so it's like you're mixing a little bit of Guitar Hero and Devil May Cry together because you're hitting to the beat, and it's like, oh, you get the combo and you deal more damage and stuff, and it is very fun.
I like that. Well, there we go. Like Guitar Hero, like nobody's mentioned that. That's a whole game about music.
Actual music, yeah. It's not video game music, it's music.
Just Dance, yeah.
Yeah.
Just that's another great example, yeah.
That is ingrained in my memory. If you asked me to do this right now, I could do it. The Rasputin dance from Just
Do it
Dance.
right now.
I could do it.
Yeah, because that will make good for audio content, really,
No,
wouldn't
I
it?
know, totally.
If you want to see Jamie do the Rasputin dance, go over to our YouTube channel.
I found some of the bands that were on Hi-Fi Rush. So we had Nine Inch Nails, Number Girl, The Black Keys, Prodigy, The Joy Formidable, Wolfgang Gartner, and Zvan, or however you pronounce that. Zwan? I don't know.
Some good names in there. I recognize some of those for sure.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool,
was the
though. That's cool as
game?
fuck.
What was the game we played together where the two girls went to rescue their boyfriends?
River City Girls.
That was incredible music. And that's another one where I listened to it in game and added it to a playlist so that I could keep listening to it.
For context for listeners, and it's a goofy game and everything. Like the writing's just so stupid and everything. It's just, what was it? My character, right? One of her moves that actually deals damage is she dabs.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's got nothing to do with River City. That's my Scottish link for today. It's got nothing to do with River City.
I was
Yeah,
about to
I was
say,
thinking
is it
that,
linked to Scottish soap River City?
I've got one that's kind of like the opposite. I knew the song and then I heard it, and then that made everything so much more emotional for me. And this is probably spoilers if you've not seen The Last of Us TV show adaptation. So
Or the video
spoilers.
game.
No. Like the adaptation was,
Yeah.
the game's great. The adaptation was incredible.
Wait till you
And
get to season 2.
I knew this song. It's called On the Nature of Daylight by Max Richter. It's a beautiful classical piece of music and it's very depressing, very somber, right? Love a good cry to it. But I've loved it for a good couple of years now. And then it's that episode where Frank and his partner, episode 3, things happen and it's heartbreaking. And then just as I'm about to be like, I'm on the verge of tears, suddenly the opening notes of On the Nature of Daylight, and I look round and I'm like, no, that's me gone, inconsolable, full tears, and I actually genuinely couldn't recover for about 20 minutes. But it was because of that piece of music. If it had been any other piece of music, I don't think I would have reacted like that. But because that is such a beautiful, emotive piece of music, instantly there was, I'm not talking about like a single tear dropped down my cheek. I was feeling like, I need an adult. I need an adult. Someone come. Like, gone. So, yeah.
I'm assuming the Frank is the Nick Offerman character.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I would like to publicly apologise because then it is spoilers for the video game because that was just all written for the TV series.
The TV show, yeah.
Frank is in the game,
Yeah.
and he's just that. He is that psychopath, like get that. What's the term I'm trying to think of? Doomsday prepper. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he's just a doomsday prepper.
Yeah. But if you've watched
still have to
the TV
watch it.
show, yeah.
I still have to watch it, but that's fine. It's gonna be. I know it's gonna be amazing, regardless.
Yeah.
Massive gamers in here. I haven't watched the show or played the games.
Oh goodness! I mean, I can't talk. I only played Last of Us 2 years ago.
Well, see, I was hesitant for the TV show because well, first of all, I hate mushrooms. like as a thing anyway. Like I will taste, like I will actually throw up if someone hands me a mushroom.
Oh.
Not like that's cute, Scott. I mean,
No, I'm the same though. Mushrooms, I do not like eating them, but like anyone watching on the podcast, there are mushrooms
Yeah, I was
all
about
over
to say,
the
yeah.
room.
yeah.
Right, remind me if we ever
So-
play Mario Party, I'll pick Toad just to annoy you.
I don't like mushrooms, and then I don't like zombies. They're my biggest fear in life because I think that could genuinely happen. It makes me scared. So I was like, nah, I'm not really fussed on this. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is incredible television, and I'm really excited for a second season to come out.
And I can't remember which Saints Row it is, and if you haven't played Saints Row, it's basically like it is Grand Theft Auto, but how Grand Theft Auto went serious over the iterations, Saints Row went, no, we're going to go silly, so it's just over the
Yeah,
top.
they went law random.
Yeah. I think it was either Saints Row 2 or 3. I think it was 2, where it's the final, before you get to the final fight, you've got to race to save someone. And they legit, as you're driving, shit's exploding everywhere. They play I Need a Hero playing. So you're like, when I
You can't go wrong with that song.
I need a hero. It's things exploding and everything.
It just makes me think of Shrek. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I associate with that song.
Actually, I forgot about Shrek. The thing I think of is Short Circuit, Johnny Five Alive.
The thing I think of is the Kylo Ren edit where they put that over the
Oh
scene
yeah,
where
so they...
running in to see Ray, and it works so much better than whatever
I can
else
see
they
that.
had.
That song makes me think of when I had it on, when I first discovered it, had it on repeat, and for some reason I needed to clean my room. So anytime I hear it, I think of Shrek. And then I think of 2008 me vacuuming my old room in my parents' house. So it's funny how music holds memories.
Does it make you want to tidy though? Has it Pavlov conditioned you into
No.
like
No. It makes me want to dance around like no one's watching.
dance in the rain, girl? Dance like no one. Be a flamingo in a flock of pigeons.
Other games and Sonic, which is very notable. Not just the old school. The most notable is Sonic Battle 2, and it is called the City Escape.
Cityscape is such a fucking banger.
I've sung it multiple times on stream. I usually done it when I was playing Yakuza and I was on a Segway, because the beginning lyrics are rolling around at the speed of sound. So it's just like rolling around at the speed of sound. Gonna get copyrighted. And like there is videos out there because they'll do like live orchestras. They've done like Final Fantasy and that, and they've done Sonic, and it's a full auditorium of people singing that one song, and it's the best way to start. Again, it was like the Spider-Man one, like I mentioned. It's the best way to start a game with this really hype song playing. Nate Wants to Battle's done a cover of it, who's Isla's a fan of. And when you're hearing that song and you're snowboarding down the streets of Los Angeles.
San Francisco.
Oh, sorry, San Francisco. Yes, sorry. But
the rest of it had bangers, but like I think one of the best like nerd culture things I've ever seen was I used to be really into Super Smash Brothers, and I used to watch like videos of tournaments online. And there was one point where I can't remember who was playing, but it was Mewtwo King and one other guy, and they went on one of the Sonic stages and set the song to City Escape. And so these events, everyone is expected to. There's an audience sitting behind the two people who are in front of the TV. There are backstage. You've got people commentating on what's happening. And in this particular instance, everyone in the audience was singing City Escape. The commentators went out to the audience and joined in. And it wasn't. It was just this like amazing, just really wholesome moment in a room that probably smelled like death.
Oh.
I know for a fact there's like a lot of people in my life currently whose music taste was completely based on like the Tony Hawk games.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about those.
Yeah, you mentioned that, just made me think of that. Yeah.
Yeah, his music taste had completely evolved from I heard this as a child on the Tony Hawk games. It made me fall in love with the bands, the genre, everything, and now this is kind of almost exclusively all that I listen to.
And now they use beard oil.
But also like I have a kind of like a hatred for the Beatles music. Controversial,
You.
right?
No,
I
no,
just
with you on that. I'm with you.
I'm also with you on that.
oh my gosh, find my people. This is why I love
Ah,
you guys.
everyone else
We've
plays.
just-
Everyone
we've
plays
lost-
Borderlands, and everyone hates the Beatles. I don't put them up in a pet. I enjoy them. They're a really good band. But yeah, it's the fact. Oh god, I'm the only one that I'm the only 2D1.
I've
I'm the only one that doesn't
always
play
been outnumbered
Borderlands.
on that.
Yeah,
Everyone
We've
same.
just
was
lost
like,
the
they're
I wonder
two
so
why.
listeners we had.
I wonder
Yeah.
why you're the only one that thought that.
Yeah, and I seen this like beautiful, beautiful piece of graffiti that I like screenshot. It's like no, I didn't see it. I seen it on the internet, and it was like someone had wrote like on the pavement, "If the Beatles were so good, why aren't they in Tony Hawk's?" Like, okay.
No, I would totally jam. I would totally jam into grinding to just like come together or something. like
The only
Anyway,
song
but
I can
yes.
reasonably cope with is Help. That's the only one.
Help!
Yeah, that's all we can say for copyright reasons.
Help, help! I need an adult. But yeah, things like Tony Hawk's, you know, like genuinely, that is their whole music taste now. Is just, no, this was in Tony Hawk, and this is what I grew up with. Much
Yeah.
like your mum and dad have an influence on what they listen to, sometimes becomes what you listen to, and things like that. So it can have an influence. People were going to go down this route. Can video games influence you? Not in the way you think. Pack it in, people. It doesn't make you more violent, but guess what? It can give you some pretty damn good music taste.
I've got some science. If you guys want to hear some science, so
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
I've always heard the term that listening to video games will help your concentration, help your attention, but I, being me, don't trust anything. Scott, I'm looking at you with your Scott lies.
My bad.
And I wanted to know where this came from, so I did a bit of digging. And there's not a lot of research out there that I could find, but there was some research that was quoted in an article by Popular Science. They quoted the National Library of Medicine, which looked into how music had an effect on attention span as opposed to video game music specifically. And there's 3 points. So one is down to evolution. Our brains for centuries and millennia have been trained to detect humans. When we're listening to anything, we subconsciously tune in to people's voices. So when you've got music with, you know, music in the charts, any other type of music, you're listening to the voices more than anything else for the focus, and that's why you're focused on that music. But video game music, for the most part, doesn't usually have lyrics in it, which is why it fades into the background. It gives our subconscious something to tune out. The second thing is the low volume. It's not at that sort of volume where it has to be the thing that your brain is paying attention to. It's usually lower so that it does become that background music. And then it's also fast paced. So classical music is supposed to relax you. Video game music usually has a bit of pace to it, especially when the battles are happening or when it's designed to hold your attention without being the focus of your attention. So all of this comes down to our brains are tuning it out because it doesn't have lyrics, but it's still deliberately designed to keep your attention and keep your motivation up. And the low volume helps sort of tune it out at the same time, which is why, according to all of this, we focus better when we're listening to music without lyrics. So there's the science element of it that I did a bit of research on.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
So I think that if anyone is listening or watching this, if we've missed any really obvious examples, or if there's some indie games or niche examples that actually have a banging soundtrack, but we're maybe unaware of it, please drop us a message, let us know.
I have one.
What is it?
One thing I really wanted to mention before the end of this is the episode about video game music, and we've talked about Hi-Fi Rush, which is a video game that thrives on music. Guitar Hero, you've got Just Dance, you've got like all the Drum Hero, like all the ones that spawned off of it. There is a game it's a solo developer working on this game that is entirely based around music. It is called Sword of Symphony,
I
and
actually
they
have
have
heard of this.
described it. Yeah. So it's been described as a music action RPG, which looks fantastic. I honestly can't do it justice here, but it has very kind of Souls-like movement. A bit more Bloodborne-y, a bit faster paced, and basically entirely connected to music.
Yeah, I would
I
say
just
it's
check.
more along the lines of it's more like Hi-Fi Rush, Bayonetta, Devil May Cry side. It's more actiony than the difficult kind of side with like kind of games like that.
Yeah, definitely. But I would definitely go and look it up because it's something you have to see and hear. That's all I'll say about it.
Jamie, have you got a fact for us?
Okay, so this is a part of the podcast where I try and earn my place at the dinner table by talking about something Scottish history and linking it to either games or pop culture. So today's Scottish history fact is: did you know that the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin loosely kind of based the Red Wedding off of something called the Black Dinner, which is something that happened in Scottish history. So this was in about 1440. What had happened was the Earl of Douglas, who was round about 10 at this time, and his brother were executed after being invited to dine with King James II. And it was a brutal massacre. It is one of the most brutal things to have happened in Scottish history because he was like 10. And
Oh shit.
George R. Martin, it says, like, it's loosely based. Obviously, I think probably he came up with a lot of it by himself, but he had read up about this thing called the Black Dinner and realised how gruesome and bloody and horrible history could be. And he wrote The Red Wedding. So there you go. There's my little jam.
That's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
kinda
I love that. Even the naming convention's very similar.
Yeah. The Black
The Red
Dinner
Wedding.
and the
cool. The Red Wedding does sound a lot better than the Black Dinner. The Black Dinner just sounds like somebody's made dinner very badly.
Black pudding or burnt it all.
Well, that is the end of the podcast. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Remember to give us follows, spread the word. If you have any suggestions on what you want us to talk about, go ahead. Next episode, we will be talking about just video game adaptations from to TV and film. And I was Walt Arkong. I'll catch you all later.
Love you, bye.
Love you,
Love you,
bye.
bye.
Love you, bye.
Bye.